Hey, welcome back to Mr. Sock Review. Mr. Sock, he's just getting out of the tanning bed. He'll be here in a minute. I don't know about you, but there are like no good movies out. Where are all the good movies? There's no good movies out. And I'm sick. I think the last good movie I saw was Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. I did a movie review of that on my other channel. Now, this is the channel where I get to get on and talk and do stupid stuff, and I really don't have to put a lot of effort and work into it. Because this is my channel. I like making videos so I can do whatever I want. I don't have to hide under the desk when I talk with Mr. Puppet.
Hello and welcome to this week's movie review with me, Mr. Sock.
Gosh, Mr. Sock, you look like you got a little overdone in the tanning bed.
What are you trying to say?
So, yeah. Now, what's the next big movie coming out? Gosh, it's overcast and this much light is on my face. People, I don't have... Actually, let me turn my overhead off. Let's see if that won't... That might help it a little bit. I don't know. It's still really, really bright. But anywho, so what great movie is coming out? I can't think of any great movies. There's no great Star Wars movies. I want to be positive. So Aquaman was fantastic. Spider-Man Spider-Verse was fantastic. Come to find out, Sony actually is the ones who did Venom. Now Venom, as far as the critics were concerned, was underrated. It was garbage, which I thought Solo was kind of the same way. Now Last Jedi came out and destroyed everything that Solo could have ever been. Now, in my opinion, Solo was a better movie than The Last Jedi. But I think they lost, if I'm not mistaken, $200 million because all the fans didn't show up to watch Solo. I'm talking to Mike down at the comic book store yesterday, and I asked him, here's the archive here in Bowling Green. I asked him his opinion. I said, Mike, what do you think about the Star Wars films? He said, what do you think happened? Why is it that there's a steady stream downward as far as revenue is going in the Star Wars universe? And he said, basically, one of the big issues is that they have flooded the market. He said he can't sell his Star Wars toys. He has a Millennial Falcon that would be typically a hot item, a large scale, beautiful, old school Millennial Falcon. And he said he can't sell it. It's like $50. He can't get rid of the thing. So yeah, he said that there is a massive flood of Star Wars toys that are all discounted. People aren't buying them. Number two is a lot of them are just frankly just very they're not attractive toys. It's not something boys buy action figures typically. So if you're going to market, you're going to want to market to boys. Well, with them marketing to girls and making little action figures, it's not what girls are into. So maybe some, but not all. And the ones that do, hey, we need them. But typically not so. They're the ones watching beauty tutorials and things like that. So, well, he said basically they flooded the market, and when you have a economic situation and you flood a market, well, then the value of the item goes down because there's so much of it. The less of about, say you have two very rare coins, well, if you destroy one of the coins, the value of the last coin, or remaining coin, has gone up pretty exponentially because it is the only one of its kind. So with the Star Wars franchise, they just did so much so fast, and they just flooded the market everywhere you go. Lunchbox, back, everywhere you go, it's Star Wars. I mean, it's a common thing. Anytime you buy ramen noodles, there's Rey's face on the ramen noodles. You know what I mean? I got to see her all the time. So yeah, it's a flooded market, and it's not special, is what Mike was saying. He said that he doesn't think that it's special anymore, and it's not. And so what they might need to do, go back and do, and this lighting is just terrible. I'm looking at myself right now. And I have a receding hairline, and that don't help. That's probably me being white. But anyways, so what they would need to do is they need to go back, Star Wars, the Disney people, and they need to pare back. And I know that people say, well, no, you don't. Yeah, you need to pare back what you're doing and not exacerbate the market. You need to go ahead and refrain from doing so much so fast and put out maybe a movie every 2 years or something like that, and make sure that you do a good quality movie and allow what is truly Star Wars, which is the fan base Like after The Force Awakens, I mean, the fan base was incredible. Everyone had theories, and they had cosplay, and they had all these different things that they were doing. That's really what Star Wars is. It's where the fans are getting together at conventions, and they're making costumes, and they're talking, and they're giving their theories, and this and that, and they're tearing it up and putting it together and trying to figure out things, and they're writing books and novellas and all kinds of different things. That's what Star Wars is. But with Disney taking control and them wanting to control everything, every aspect of it has to be us, 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 us. Stupid dog. Us, 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 us. We have to control every revenue. We have to, it has smothered out the fan base from getting together, from doing these large group things. And yes, there are people, if you go after The Force Awakens, there was massive interest in Snoke. There was massive interest in whose Rey's parents are. The stupidity of Han Solo dying, where in the world Luke is Luke the Jedi Master, what cool things are Luke going to do? But when The Last Jedi came out, it destroyed all of those things. So all of those interesting parts about the movie were destroyed, and it pretty much, fans were like, well, let's just, like Luke threw away the lightsaber. He's like, well, let's just get rid of this and let's move on to something else. So now the wheels have turned, and the fans are not, instead of the fans saying, what is going to happen here, and who is this, and what's going on, and the mystery that The Force Awakens presented is all gone. There's no mystery left anymore. It's not special anymore. So they've removed that from Star Wars, and coincidentally, because The Last Jedi was such a terrible film, terrible in the aspect that it destroyed all the secrets and interest and backstories and things that were, well, the internet was blowing up about, what the fans were blowing up, because it's destroyed all of those things. They chose to do that. That was Disney's choice to do that. Now they are having to live with people not buying the stuff because there's not much interest in it anymore. So, hey, let me know what you think in your comments. If you want to subscribe to the Mr. Sock Talk, you can. This is where I get on the boob tube and I just flow with it. The other channel I got, I kind of just do, satire and things like that. But I think it's nice to be able to just get on and rant a little bit and rave and, play with my hair and pity the day that I was born with the genetics that I was born with. I have got to learn to quit looking at the screen. Do you guys have the same issue on your YouTube videos? If you're a YouTuber, do you have the same issue wanting to look down and like, oh my God, quit looking down, look at the camera, one of the big things. But I just upgraded my camera and it's got a built-in sound device, which is helping everything. What do you guys want to talk about on here? I only got 3 subscribers. I'm not really after subscribers. I'm going to get on here and do all my stupid stuff. Hey, it would actually kill me if it grew faster than my other channel. I think the other channel has like 29 subscribers. I don't care. That's nothing but frustration when you just chasing subscribers and things like that. It's annoying. But yeah, Mike doesn't think that it's going good places unless they pare back on the movies that they're doing and putting out so much junk. And it looks like they have, to a degree, pared back. I actually heard that the fan-based movie, Vader movie that had come out, that Disney was pulling the revenue on that, even though they didn't create it, and that George Lucas got involved with that. I might be wrong. I need to go brush up on my reading on that, but he told them it was stupid to do that, and it's kind of crazy, because Star Wars is a fan-based, fan-pushed, fan everything, and Disney's taking away, their ability to enjoy being fans of Star Wars. It's kind of a nasty thing. It's like when you work for a company that is a grassroots company, and it's very flowy, and it's very organic, and it's very beautiful, and every member has a part of it, and that every member is what's driving the characteristics and the personality of that enterprise, whatever it is. And then you have this massive conglomerate take over it, and the massive conglomerate sends in human resources, which changes everything and oppresses everything and destroys everything and ties everyone's hands and makes everyone angry and takes away creativity and thoughts and originality and individuality, and removes all of that from the company. And then you're left with a shell and people who are miserable within that company, and it loses its identity, and eventually that it'll catch up with it. So Star Wars once was that grassroots, very individualistic, very organic, very lovely, very wonderful thing, about the story about his dad and his son and all the amazing little characters that were involved in that. out in space, and it's not that anymore. The father-son relationship has pretty much been killed, with Han Solo's sons murdering him, with Luke being the pansy, frankly, and trying to kill his nephew, with Rey pretty much not having any parents. I don't know what is Disney's obsession with killing off families. I don't understand this. I don't get it. Why do they think that's cool? Why do they think that kids want to be like kids who don't have parents? I don't understand that. Is that what their market is to orphans? I'm not trying to be mean, but really orphans don't have a lot of money to pay for movie tickets, to my knowledge. So why would they market to orphans? I mean, yeah, orphans are fine. Nothing wrong with orphans, but to play that all the time, it doesn't make any sense. The greatest orphan movie ever made is Annie, and Annie is about a little girl getting a dad, not a little girl killing her dad. So yeah, anyways, so that's my rant for the day. Star Wars junkie, Marvel junkie. I actually bought, let me show you guys this. Let me show you. Let me show you what I bought. The Mighty Thor, starring in Marvel's spectacular Abandoned on Earth. I don't actually read a lot of comics. I don't. I love the artwork. I love the ideas. And most of the time I can come up with ideas better in my head than that are in the comic books. And I'm like, well, no, I'm going to read this whole comic through. And what I was amazed by was not so much the comic or the Stan Lee storyline, but even though I did find it very interesting, even if, it was exaggerated quite a bit, which is okay. I think that's wonderful. But I really love the artwork that they did here, like the captioning here, the red. And I'm just like, I need to learn how to do the little red scrolls with the yellow letters in my clip now. And this particular story, Thor wants to remain on Earth. And because he has grown to love humanity, a rare thing, right? Superman butchers everybody now, but he loves humanity, and he wants to stay on Earth, and it ticks off his dad. And amazingly, because everyone's always in a power struggle, who's the strongest, but this particular comic book literally says that Odin is the omnipotent, and I'm like, he has literally all power. Now I think he was just in a battle with another individual, so it shows you that, well, if Odin has to battle with somebody, they're probably not omnipotent. Why would an omnipotent person have to battle somebody? But he chooses to battle a person. Of course, he wins, and he says he sees everything. He literally says he's omniscient, I think, omnipresent. He can see everything. And he sees Thor having this conversation with his buddies, and it upsets him that Thor wants to remain on Earth. So Odin says, all right, I'm going to strip you of everything. You're not going to have your hammer. You're not going to have your magical powers. You're not going to have anything. The only thing you're going to retain is your strength. That's it. So he strips Thor of everything, and Thor is left on Earth with just his strength. He can't turn back into... he's posing as a doctor. Now, this is actually the cool Thor. In my opinion, I like when Thor turns into Dr. Blake. But look at some of this stuff here. Look at this. Can you guys see this? They are selling formulas for super strength, and it's really cool. But he can't turn back into Dr. Blake. And God, I hope I'm getting that right. The Dr. Blake arc is so little used that, oh my gosh, the sun is bright. Good Lord. The Dr. Blake arc is so, come on, you piece of junk. Oh, did I break my blinds? No. No, it's not broke. I'm broke. It's not broke. Oh, good night. Okay. All right. The Dr. Blake arc is so little used that because everyone knows Thor is Thor, he's just constantly Thor, Thor, Thor. But he doesn't turn back into Dr. Blake. Now in this movie, he actually turns back into Dr. Blake, and he sees being Dr. Blake as helping people more beneficial than being Thor. And that was like a massive twist from what I usually perceive comic book heroes as. My dog's pooping and peeing. Y'all excuse me. But I perceive it differently, and I think a lot of people perceive it differently because she didn't poop or pee. She just stopped laying on the couch. But you got to watch her because she will. Anyways, you don't perceive that him being a human is better in his eyes than being God. A God. But he does. He considers medicine as more noble and more beneficial to the human race than being Thor. Well, he's stripped of that. Odin strips him of that. And he's left just being himself, Thor. And he has to revamp his whole mind. So he's looking for a job. Thor is looking for a job. And the local circus, or the circus, comes into town, and their strongman tried to lift an elephant, and he couldn't lift the elephant. Well, Thor goes there, and he's looking for a job, and he sees this creature like swirling around his legs, and it's a big old snake, and he goes and he ties the thing in a knot. And well, the snake handler, the woman, she's the world's best, greatest snake handler is what she said. She pokes him in the back with like a pig zapper and zaps him, and he falls on the ground. So obviously he's not impenetrable because he got, gotten took out with a pig zapper, a prod. Well, anyways, the circus is it's messed up, it's dark, it's twisted, and the ringleader of the circus is a hypnotist, and he hypnotizes Thor because they want to steal this thing called the Golden Bull. So they have remade a replica of the Golden Bull, a massive bull, and they want to see if Thor is strong enough to carry this bull. So he hypnotizes them and tells them to go get underneath the bull and lift the bull and lift it up. He's got to lift up, and he's got to walk like 60 feet or 60 meters or something like that. So he walks with it 60 feet, and they're all astounded. But the whole time Thor is exerting himself with everything he's got. I got to give it my best power. And it's in his mind, it's always, if I had my hammer, this would have been a stitch. If I just had my magic, I'd have easily done this. And he actually has, and it's kind of shocking when I read it, he has a inferiority problem. He don't think very highly of himself without being Dr. Blake, and without having his hammer, and without his magical powers. He does it even though he can lift this bull that weighs tons and tons. He has an inferiority problem. And I thought that Stan Lee did such a wonderful job of pointing out humanity in the comic book. In this comic book, he got all twisted up. Even though he lost some things in his life. He did lose a lot of things. His dad was ticked out of him. He lost some things. He lost some family. That's crap we all go through most of the time, or it seems like. But even though he had this great strength, it wasn't enough. He wasn't good enough. And it's just like he wrote it in there really, really well. And it was a wonderful story arc. And I actually want to go back to the comic book store and get the next part to this comic. I thought it was so well. I want to see, if he steals the Golden Bull, if he gets out from underneath the ringleader's, hypnosis stare or whatever, and we'll see what happens there, I guess. But hey, if you tuned in, thanks for watching this video. I apologize, it did go a little bit long.